Good evening, folks, and welcome to the virtual comedy studio. It's Tuesday night. Look to your left, look to your right. You are no longer in your disgusting room. I don't know what your room looks like. But you are now in a virtual comedy club that is also equally disgusting. Please give it up for your host for tonight's program. Her room is clean. Give it up for Kathe Farris.
Thank you. I don't know what was that intro. First of all, we're in my crafting room.
I'm projecting my views of my own room on other people.
Welcome to Farris and Friends, and if you must know, this is my crafting room where I like to watch crafting videos. Okay, that's what we do here. This is Farris and Friends, and I want to say,
do you have a bowling room where you only watch bowling shows?
Ellen, I swear to God, did I not? What was the one note I had about the show tonight? The one note was, for the love of God, let me get through my intro, right? And what happens?
Right. But do you have a bowling alley in your house where you watch bowling, just bowling TV?
No, Ellen, no, that's not even a good setup. That's not even a joke. No, nobody has that. I mean, I don't have
Some
that kind
people
of
have it.
I don't have NFL money. What are you talking about?
Right.
I got a crafting room. I got a crafting room. I'm like,
You have a crafting room where you watch crafting videos. Do you have a kitchen where you watch cooking videos?
oh my God. Thanks for coming to Farris and Friends. It's going to be a real great show. I really like the lineup. It's a great lineup. I'm sorry. I'm really getting into this. Hold on. Let me just check my notes. Actually, I did want to say, first of all, thank you all for coming, and thank you for the people that keep coming back. And I know you keep coming back because you keep sending me messages about my relationship with Ellen. And as much as I appreciate you coming back, I'm not so sure I appreciate the messages about Ellen. I think you're misunderstanding the whole relationship. The thing is that I pride myself on being a very prepared comic. If you know me before the pandemic, I'm very edited. I'm very prepared and very professional. Okay, I don't know if you've seen the photo of me going around when I lost the Boston Comedy Festival and I look like I worked at an H&R Block, but that's me. That sums me up. On a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, on a Saturday, that's who I am. And I decided to do this show, and my friend decided to help me produce it. And for the last 36 weeks, it's been tough. It's been this has been a lot, okay? And I'm not saying that other people aren't going through things. I know everybody's going through things. My sister Kara was on her last tray of Invisalign right before the pandemic happened. And what happened? Mandatory masks. No one's seeing this now, Kara. No one's seeing the struggle you went through for 7 months with Invisalign. And I apologize for that. I feel your pain because I'm doing this now with Ellen in my crafting room. Okay? So we all have stuff. But to lighten it up, because this is a comedy show, the thing is that there are silver linings to things like this. And I was reminded of that today because I went to see my mother-in-law, and she's staying safe and she's staying in. And we are really grateful for that because about a year ago, she took a real liking to parades. And I don't know if any of you have a loved one in elder care who has taken a liking to parades as well, where they just like to sit on a curb and wave back to strangers. And it's tough. It really is because it's not easy. they're not local. Parades aren't local. And she doesn't even know anybody in these parades, so you're questioning a lot of stuff here. My point is that it's a silver lining for the pandemic because now she's back to her old hobbies, which is just misrepresenting medical studies and sending them to us. She just had told me today, I don't know what kind of Google alert she's on, but drinking soy milk and parking in public parking lots can cause hepatitis C. I don't know if it's true, but it sounds right the way she says it, so we're just going to go with it. And we're just going to be thankful that we're just not driving around Reading, Massachusetts anymore, looking for an old lady on a blanket on a curb, clapping at mediocre musical ensembles by high school students. That's all I'm going to say. Ellen, I thank you so much for not interrupting me. Honestly, it was like my left was like, she's gonna do it.
I was gonna do it, but I didn't. But here's the thing: is that I know where your mother-in-law lives. It's okay for me to say, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, just don't give the zip code, but sure.
Oh, so not the town.
Go ahead. I don't-
Okay, but I grew up in the same town that your mother-in-law lives in, which is Lexington, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
and we have
And
parades for everything in Lexington. So she must be busy, or
she
she was.
is. Well, the thing is, that's not true. Like we don't have parades in Lexington. We have reenactments because if you are familiar,
And a parade, Kathy. Don't
I
you
know.
say there was no parade. I was in that parade when I was a brownie and when I was a Girl Scout.
Ellen, I'm not saying that there aren't parades. I'm saying that there's more than this parades there, which is in Lexington, Massachusetts. It's famous for the first shot heard around the world, right? So they
Yep.
do a ton of reenactments. I mean, I do reenactments too. Like, does anybody else do it? Like my reenactments, though, are not like historical ones. They're like from 1990 when I'm working at Dress Barn, and I asked my supervisor if I could have the day off, and I fill out all the forms, but Brenda was like, no, you can't have it off. So anyway, the thing is that it's about reenactments, not parades, and those are two different things. And I'm not going to get a stickler on it because I didn't write notes for that, so we're not going to do that.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that reenactments and the parades in Lexington was something, I get her loving parades. And
Is this prepared, or are you just talking? I don't
just
know.
talking.
Okay. I'm gonna laugh now so I don't get comments like, "Oh, that's so whimsical, Ellen. Thanks for that contribution." I just can't think of a better segue than how to start our show. Actually, I'm really super excited about this show tonight. Because we have such a mix of people. As you know, with Farris and Friends, one of the things we do is that we bring on our up and comers, our new comedians, and our seasoned people, and that's tonight is just such a great example of this, where we have new people. We have a TikTok sensation. Bimo the Prince is on. It's his debut. It's his debut. And then we have Stacey and Greg, who are up and comers, who you have to check out. And then we have the winner of the Boston Comedy Festival from 2020. I mean, come on. Right?
I'm excited about this show.
Oh, well then good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I am. I think
comments, Ellen, you couldn't put that in the comments?
this is one of those shows that it's the epitome of Farris and Friends. This is your dream come to life.
I just said that.
I know, but I didn't want people to think that you weren't sincere. Sometimes your sincerity gets lost, but
I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I think my warmth gets lost. Okay, I don't think a lot of people think I want to be their friend. I get that. I mean, I get that. You know, like look at me. Like I get that, but no, my sincerity's right there. It's right there.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. All right, let's get started. Okay, our first comic coming to Farris and Friends. We are very excited. He has been on before, and you'll probably see him again because he is one of my favorites, and he's going to be one of your favorites. Put your hands together for Greg McMurrow. Hi, Greg.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Glad to have you back.
And I'm glad you've also learned my name this time. I'm really happy.
Oh my God, Greg, every time.
Anyhow, I'm sober, and I'm sober because one day I drank too many spiked seltzers, and I started to feel sad about some of my life decisions. I really wish I'd gone to college. What is this, mixed berry? This is delicious. I should probably stop drinking. At the bars, I drink soda water and cranberry juice, which looks a lot like a mixed drink. I'll put down like 10 of those, and I've had people come up to me and say, I think you have a drinking problem. I do. It's very sweet of you to notice. I'm like, no, I think you're an alcoholic. And I'm like, I am an alcoholic. Not to brag, I'm doing a great job. I saw a study recently that said 25% of millennials don't have any friends. And all this time I thought I was just an asshole. I'm not a millennial, but for that joke in my self-esteem, I am. I live across the street from a nursing home. And it's very sad, to see all those elderly folks just so desperately waiting for someone to visit them. But one day, I knew I had to do something. So I got up and I closed my curtains. I don't need those people bumming me out. This is a new look for me. I call it the Jesus. I figure with the way the year's going, if the rapture happens, maybe I'll get into heaven via identity fraud. Like, is that you, Jay? What are you doing down there? Get in here. I'm like, okay, all right. The problem is, though, from the neck down, I look like Jesus if Jesus just gave up. And the thing is, Jesus knew he was going to die, and he didn't give up his ab routine. You could grate wafers on those things. If I died today, I'd probably be mistaken as the Pillsbury Doughboy. I think about death a lot, and I'm not afraid to die. And that's not the depression talking. I'm going to die an embarrassing death, like being impaled by a beach umbrella. Beach umbrellas cause 31,000 deaths and injuries a year. 31,000. Those are family vacations that nobody talks about. They are human-sized lawn darts from hell. This is a real quote from the victim of a Wendy serial killer. I heard the flapping, and the next thing I saw was the point of the umbrella. I love going to the beach. I went to the beach this summer, in fact. Can you guys guess what happened? I thwarted an umbrella attack. I saw those demon wings take flight, and I gracefully rolled out of my beach chair and briskly gave pursuit. That multicolored monster took aim at a little old lady, and I briskly got over there, politely tackled her to the sand, narrowly escaping certain death. She looked up at me, her hand blocking out the sun, and she said, "You saved me, Jesus H. Crescent Roll. How come you never visited me at the nursing home?" That's all my time, folks. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you. You know, I never like to critique people. First of all, thank you for being on, but I did just get a message from my mother-in-law, and it was 31,500 deaths.
Oh.
So, but I still think that was fantastic.
I try to be so accurate with my stats and my jokes. That,
Not me, it's my mother-in-law.
I like how you just said that you don't like to critique anybody's jokes.
Okay.
Because that's not, I mean, it's not true.
Okay.
I don't mean to fact check you on everything, but.
First of all, the comedians that are on tonight probably didn't believe me when I said, hey guys, Ellen's going to be on the show. She's going to be late. She's going to come in hot and she's going to be a shit show. They didn't believe it. And now, you know, you did. You gave me credibility. And I want to thank you for that, Ellen. I really do. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with me tonight. I'm all on fire.
This is every Tuesday. Anybody's like, I have people in my watch party. If I have 14 people, like, nope, this is this is on brand. This is every Tuesday. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. When she took my class, I think it was like a couple years ago. Like I just always had my eye on her. And then Ellen met her, and we were like, we gotta get this lady on our shows, and she's been on and she's agreed to come back, and you're welcome. Put your hands together for Stacy Shipman.
Thanks Kathy. Thanks Ellen for that.
Thank you for acknowledging me, Stacy. That means a lot.
All right, well, I got to do something to calm the nerves and the anxiety. I don't know why I keep saying yes to all these shows, because performance anxiety totally sucks, and if left unchecked, only leads to more performance anxiety. And I know this firsthand because about 20 years ago, I actually took a stand-up comedy class for the first time because I thought it would be a great way to overcome my fear of public speaking, maybe meet a guy, prove to my family that I knew how to make good life choices. Now, I'm not sure if anybody here or watching has ever suffered from performance anxiety, but just in case, here's what not to do. Do not order a scorpion bowl for 4 and proceed to drink it alone. Especially if you're a lightweight who suffers from performance anxiety. Because that's going to lead to overthinking, which I'm pretty sure is why my hair is so curly and gray. But that liquid courage leads you to think that it's a good idea to start your set pretending to be a stripper. Amateur tip. That is not a good idea. when you've invited your entire family to see you perform. Which is exactly what I did, because growing up, I grew up in this tight-knit Middle Eastern family, and we went everywhere together with cameras, with snacks, pita bread, and hummus. So as I shimmied out on stage that night, grabbed the microphone and worked it like I was I saw the faces of my family sitting there in the front row. Had a Ivy League educated uncle passing out business cards like it was a networking event. Cousin who had just gotten off probation with a shit-eating grin on his face because he knew that for the first time at Christmas, nobody was going to be talking about him. Had a science-minded sister and brother-in-law who were recording every comedian because they were trying to figure out what makes a joke funny. I mean, they treated this like a lab experiment. They didn't even drink a scorpion bowl. Mostly because when they asked me for some of mine, I was like, no, this is mine. And then there was my mom sitting, shaking her head. And as she lifted a sticky foot off the floor, she just looked at me and said, "You blew it." And I was horrified. How the hell did she know my stripper name? But 20 years is a long time, and I've matured, and I no longer have to drink a scorpion bowl to calm my nerves. I now drink the yoga Kool-Aid. So I'm a yogi, and actually I did a little yoga before coming here tonight because it does calm me down. But when I first started, it took a little while to get into because there's some things about yoga that they don't tell you about when you first get started. Like they promote peace and zen and cute crop tops, but they don't tell you all the work you have to do to get to those places. So when I first started practicing, my stomach would feel unsettled. And I'm like, yoga is supposed to calm my anxiety, not create more anxiety. So I asked the teacher about it. And she said, "Oh, I know." She was grabbing a microphone. "It's so delicious and yummy." And I was like, delicious and yummy is a large cheese pizza and a glass of Chianti on a Friday night, not bile. And then she said, "It's all your stuff coming up. You just have to sit with it." And I was like, sit with it? I'm pretty sure that's why I eat so much pizza and drink so much Chianti. But I'm not one to back away from a challenge, so I'll sit with it. And I sat with it, and stuff came up, like, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you really blew it at that comedy show 20 years ago. And that's when I realized that scorpion bowls and stripping for my family is way easier than practicing yoga. That's all I got tonight. Thank you, Kathe.
Thank you, Stacy. Stacy Shipman, everybody. See, this is what's great about this show. We have like new people, we have seasoned people, and then we have people right there in the middle where they're like, still getting their traction. And with the pandemic, a lot of people thinking, well, I'll just wait till after, because it's Zoom and online. You should start anyway. If you ever thought about like starting to do comedy, with the Comedy Studio, we do classes for beginners and for people who are doing it, but they just need a little bit of nudge or accountability or discipline. So check out thecomedystudio.com and check out our classes. Also private coaching, which I like to call private nagging, and I'm very good at it.
I have to tell you, I think Stacy is just, I've watched her these past, since quarantine actually. I don't think I knew her at all before, and so you're one of the gifts of 2020, Stacy.
Oh, that's very nice. Ellen, that's really nice.
That's nice. Thanks, Ellen.
Wow. I don't know what's going on, but let's just keep that
I just really like Stacy.
going. I agree with you though. Like I really like your whole yoga thing, because you're so right. Like they try to get you in this Zen spot of like, just think of like good thoughts, and I've done yoga like, I don't know, 14 and a half times. And every time I'm like, oh, I just want some white Zinfandel and just a bunch of Eleanor Roosevelt quotes right now. I don't want to be here.
Give it the full 15 tries, Kathe, and you might find it works.
I would have, but they kicked me out, and I'm not going to get into that. Thank you, Planet Fitness. Okay. I am so excited about our next comedian.
I'm excited too.
Me too. Me too. I learned about him because I do a podcast called Small Town Scuttlebutt, product placement, and he came on because he's a TikToker. And as you can tell, I'm 52 years old because I call them TikTokers. And that isn't somebody who repairs clocks. Okay. But he was also named one of the top 3 TikTokers to watch by Funny or Die. And we talked about comedy, and right away I just knew, like, this guy is funny. And he took this leap of faith with me where I said, I know you do TikTok, I know you do improv, I know you do all this stuff. Will you do my stand-up show? And he said, yes. And I want to thank him so much for doing this. You guys put your hands together for the debut stand-up comedy stylings of Brian Moeller.
Hey. Well, thank you for having me, Kathe, and forcing me into this against my will. But, so what I want to talk about is something that I've been thinking about a lot, which is fetishes. Not because I want to partake, but really because I don't think I get it. Like, I don't understand the whole thing. Because, first of all, like, what is a fetish? You know, isn't it just something we like sexually? Because if that's the case, then why does it get its own special category? You know what I mean? Like, what makes a fetish a fetish? Because I would never see a gay dude and just be like, oh, male fetish. Like, it wouldn't make sense to me because that's just what he likes. You know what I mean? But I will acknowledge that there are some fetishes that are a little more fetishy than others, right? Like, there's the rubber leather situation, which I will never understand. Because sex is a physical activity. And if you're doing it right, you know, you might work up a sweat, a little bit of a lather. You know, it's like a workout, but fun. Never once gone to the gym and just been standing there thinking, you know, this workout is great, but it'd be so much better if I was dressed like a rubber bunny. You're never going to go there and see someone smashing a Stairmaster in a leather onesie. It's not going to happen because it just saran wraps the sweat to your body. You look like a gothic meatball sup. And like, all of that is just so strange to me. And then there's all the zippers. Like, why the zippers? Is that where you're hiding all your sexy halftime snacks? Because it's just not practical. You'll squish them. Just put them on the bed table like a normal person, and then you can just grab and go, you know? Nibble and giggle. Double dutch. Just in it, like, it's just, I don't get it. I don't understand all of it. And the one that really just melts my brain is the foot fetish. Ugh. Just imagine for a minute taking someone home, and you know, you set the mood, light some candles, and they start unbuttoning their shirt, and you're like, baby, no, leave that on, but let's lose the socks. I just don't, it's so gross. It's weird. And maybe it's because I just don't like feet in general. I hate them and I think they're disgusting. I'd much rather have another set of hands down there. Because, like, think about it. Like, you can go out for 10 hours all day and just touch stuff, live your life and whatever. And when you come back, your hands still look like your hands. Go out barefoot for 10 minutes. And you will come back with feet that look like you stole them off a mummy. And for whatever reason, there are real people on this planet that just love them some Tutankhamun toes. And it is just disgusting to me. And one of my friends is actually one of those people. And he says to me all the time, he's like, well, listen, man, you know, like, feet are great. They can do anything a hand can do. Really? anything a hand can do? He's like, well, yeah, man, you know, they can do anything. Like, you can drive a car. Do you understand the kind of dire life situation you need to be in to master the art of driving a car with just your feet? Like, I guarantee you would never walk up to an armless man, show him a Ford Focus, and have him be like, oh, wonderful, another strictly foot operational like, moving machine. Like, it would never happen. He'd probably just flip you off and then take off on his unicycle. Just, I don't understand it. And like, then you look at on the other hand, right? The literal other hand, where you have hands. And you know what my hand can do? My hand will simultaneously drive, text, control the music, and it'll unzip my leather onesie just in time for that halftime snack. That's all I got.
Great job! Brian, you did it! How did it feel, Brian? Are you glad you did this?
It was grand. It's nicer when there aren't like a ton of bodies staring at me. That's a good way to ease in, I think.
Okay.
Well, there's like 475 people watching on Facebook, but yeah, I'm just kidding.
Glad you told me that after. Glad you told me after.
That's like nothing for you, though. You have hundreds of thousands of people that watch you. So I'm glad that you did this. I'm glad that you trusted me enough to do this, and I hope that you continue to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure you're going to hear from me again. You specifically, Kathe. I'm going to annoy the hell out of you.
Oh, I was going to say, that sounded very vague, like, I will be seeing you again. And I know this because a lot of people say that to me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. Good job. Awesome.
Thank you.
This is what I love about this show. And, you know, when we first started this is exactly what my only condition was. Well, I had a lot of conditions, but my only good condition that I'll tell public people is that I wanted to always have new people on. I think there's always this opportunity. If you're not familiar with stand-up, or if you're just starting stand-up, it gets better than just doing open mics. You're going to get your shot. You're going to get on things. And being able to have these experiences where you're with other funny people and have this kind of energy it's what keeps it going, and that's what keeps you going. So thank you so much for doing this, Greg and Stacy and Brian, which brings us to who we're sharing the stage with tonight, you guys. She is my newest friend. I think we met almost to the day. Well, we didn't meet, but we connected about a week ago, and that's how magnetic I am. That I now call her my friend. I now call her my friend. She's on my Christmas card list, which will go out in February, because I'm waiting for good news to write in that card. My kids are struggling, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, she's delightful. I've heard so many great things about her beforehand, and I knew all these now because she just won the Boston Comedy Festival. Woo! Yeah, exactly. And even if she didn't, I would have still had her on because she is hilarious. And I don't need a bunch of judges and a bunch of people telling me that, and a winner check to tell me that she's funny. You guys are going to see it too. Put your hands together for Liz Glazer.
Oh,
Liz, thanks for doing this.
It's so exciting to be here. I mean, it's really, I feel like the show, a lot of you have been talking about, like, you know, first stand-up performances and bombing in stand-up, and I have so much to say about that. Like somebody recently asked me, they're like, how do you handle bombing? And I'm like, I have an entire section of my comedy about bombing. So every time I bomb, I'm just like, great, I've got a place to put this. And, you know, I mean, one time I was bombing so badly, and not like it's just one time. I mean, you know, I got lots of stories that are all contained into like one joke pretty much, but basically like I was once, so I didn't used to be a stand-up comedian. I was a law professor, which like that's the typical route to stand-up comedy. I'm sure you guys know this, but like generally speaking, you go to law school for 3 years, then you practice for 2, then teach for 9, get tenure, then give it all up and do stand-up comedy in your hallway of your apartment, yelling into your laptop in front of the bathroom with the cat litter that you're masking with the Zoom virtual background of the Tonight Show. And the Tonight Show actually plays a really big role for me, not because I've been on it or anything like that, but the first time I ever did stand-up comedy, and at that point I had been teaching law for 7 years, and so I was like used to talking about hilarious topics like the rule against perpetuities or adverse possession. I imagine you guys know the jokes, but like I had a crush on an improv instructor and asked her if she wasn't teaching classes anymore, so I asked her if she would have coffee with me because I was like, will you do one-on-one improv with me, which sounds like some sort of innuendo, and I didn't mean it at all. I really just wanted to, you know, have something to do with her. Like, I thought she was amazing. I showed up for this coffee appointment. I had taken a half bottle of Adderall and did 18 shots of espresso at the coffee place we were meeting at on a dare with the barista because I had read a book called How to Flirt that said, it was by this guy, Marty Westerman. I cannot find him to tell him how much of an influence this book has had on me. I think he's playing hard to get. I mean, he literally wrote the book. So anyway, I was having coffee with an improv instructor, and I think she interpreted all of my basically meth that I was on as stage presence because she was like, have you ever thought of doing stand-up comedy? And I had been teaching law for 7 years, and so I said no, but then she was like, would you consider doing stand-up comedy on my show? And I would have, like, if she was like, would you consider jumping off of a bridge with me? I don't know that I would have jumped off the bridge, but I would have been like, which bridge? I will be there. I went to do the stand-up, and, you know, it was so amazing. Like, I was horrifically bad, but I had no idea what I was doing. I actually ended up opening a package my mother had sent me that I got on the way out the door to the show. Somebody told me it's good to be vulnerable, and I was like, I don't know what's in this package, so that's a way that I can be vulnerable, is by literally just not knowing. What was in the package was my mother had visited my apartment and noticed that I have 2 fluffy cats. I don't know that I have a favorite, but I just have more in common with one of them. Anyway, so the cats would go on top in the closet, perch themselves on top of my suits that I would wear to school. And so my mother noticed that I had white fluffy cat hair on my suits, and she's like, Elizabeth, and I go by Liz, but it's like my parents paid for every letter and vowels are expensive. So she was like, Elizabeth, you have to get vinyl suit covers so you don't look like a lesbian with cats when you're teaching school. I love cats. I'm such a lesbian. I have 2 of them. We all live together in a U-Haul parked right outside my ex-girlfriend's house where she lives with my other ex-girlfriend. They're together now. I park behind the Subaru. Unless it's being used, then I'll just park behind the other Subaru. But, you know, I don't know what kind of... Anyway, so she sends me these vinyl suit covers, and I got on stage and I opened the package on stage. And the first rule of comedy, as you guys know, is that vinyl suit covers sent from your mother are funny. So on that basis, I quit a tenured position. I was like, I am going big forever. Totally delusional, but I did that. And the thing with the Tonight Show is the next day after that performance, like, it was like fine. I did it basically in the equivalent of a bunk at camp, you know, and like people were laughing because I was very myself, but I also had no idea what I was doing. Like, they were laughing like a mix of at me and with me, probably a little bit more at me, you know. It was just, yeah, I have to say. But anyway, I don't think I said a word. I just like ummed and ahhed my way through this set. And honestly, I didn't even close. They just like, you know, made the lights go out on me, but the timing was okay. Anyway, so it was a whole thing. The next morning, I was like, I am a celebrity. And I had this vision of being a guest on the Tonight Show. And at this point, I was teaching law for 7 years, but in my like narcissistic daydream vision. I'm on the Tonight Show and I am asked this question. So Liz, you were a law professor for a decade and then you decided to do stand-up comedy. And my response in this vision was, actually, Jimmy, it was 9 years. And I know I just started being funny last night, but I think that's a winner. And I tell my mother this, and she's like, Elizabeth, don't quit your day job. And glad to know that you got the vinyl suit covers. You have to continue to love them. So anyway, then about 11 months later, I got an option for a buyout, quit my job. That's the story of my retirement. Thank you so much. Good night, Comedy Studio.
Oh my God. You are everything and more that people talk about.
Oh, you're so sweet, Ellen. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, you are everything and more that people talk about.
I just
that
said
was
that.
the note. That's the note. I'm the host, but Ellen, thank you for having her. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen and Kathe and Eli, everybody.
I have to can I just say something really quick, Kath?
Yeah.
When I first started comedy, my first show was on Kathe Farris's show at IB, and it was my first show ever, and Emma Willman and Jimmy Tingle were on, and that is, I know, so great, and that is how Kathe does things. She has people that are really new, and then she has headliners such as Liz. So you guys, this is your Emma Willman.
Oh, Ellen, if I knew it was going to be something nice, I wouldn't have done the whole.
Well, you never know. I like to mix it up a little,
You never know. You never know. But I think our
Great.
therapist would be super proud of us tonight because we held it together.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a moment there I was going to lose it, but I didn't. And I think it was good, right?
Yeah, I think that this is a perfect opportunity for me to tell everybody that on Thursday night is my last show of 2020, Wicked Good Comedy, but that we are going to be bringing, I'm bringing on a special guest to talk about how I tend to trigger Kathe from something that happened in her childhood that we don't know.
That's great.
First of all, nothing happened in my childhood. I am one of six, and I'm in the middle. In fact, my sister's on my watch party right now, and honest to God, she never watches anything, but I talk about her Invisalign, and now she's like she's like the biggest person on my thing. Like, anybody want to see my teeth? No, Kara, nobody wants to see your teeth. Okay, that's the whole point of the thing. Honestly, I'm getting it from all.
See what happens to her? Do you see how she does this? She gets all worked up like this. It's like it's crazy.
And the thing is, and you're right, and I shouldn't do it because then I can't go watch my Real Housewives franchise like that. I have DVR'd right now because I get 15 messages like, "Was that real? Are you okay? I feel you seem worked up." It is real, but I am not worked up, and I'm just so grateful. This show tonight was exactly what Farris and Friends is. It's loose, it's casual, it's fun, it's fucking hilarious and talented and mixed with so many people. Any given show, that's what I love about it. We are the Comedy Studio. We have shows every night of the weeknight except for Mondays because we are tired. So we don't do Monday. We do classes, we do private coaching, thecomedystudio.com. Ellen's show is on Thursday at 10:30. We will have a third party in. We're going to work through these issues, I promise you. I want to thank everybody who came out tonight and supporting our debut stand-up comedian, Brian Moeller, and our ones to watch, Greg McMorrow. And Stacy Shipman, and our Boston Comedy Festival winner, and my newest best friend, Liz Glazer. Yay! And as always, Eli, our tech, and Ellen Sugarman, our shit show side person. Yay! Was that passive aggressive? I don't know. I don't care. It was funny. You guys, thanks so much. Bye. We're Farris and Friends.
Bye.
Bye.
We're good now. We're good.
is here.